Hello, my name is Haley Collins, and for our final project, I decided to focus on the elderly because I am a nursing major and we are currently doing our Well Elder project where we choose an elderly person and analyze their current and future health risks. So I thought that focusing on the elderly would give me kind of an insight into the nutrition and diet needs for the elderly, which will help me on my project. And also I find this topic interesting from a nutritional standpoint. So I chose the elderly. Looking at the major nutrient requirements for the elderly, they include calcium, vitamin D, protein, fiber, water, which people often don't think about, but it's extremely important, B vitamins, antioxidants, zinc, and iron. So now let's get into the nutrient functions. So starting with calcium, calcium is essential for building and maintaining bone mass. So this will be especially important for elderly females as they are at an increased risk for osteopenia and osteoporosis, which both will degrade bone mass and give them weaker bones. They'll be more susceptible to fractures. And also elderly people are less efficient at absorbing calcium, so they're going to need to make up for that by consuming a little bit more calcium, not excess calcium, but they're going to make sure they're getting enough. So calcium is going to be important for maintaining healthy, strong bones in our elderly population. And then vitamin D is needed for absorption of calcium and promoting bone health. So wherever you need calcium, you're also going to need vitamin D, because without the vitamin D, you're taking calcium for naught. And vitamin D, I also learned in the elderly population, they are less efficient at absorbing vitamin D from the sun. So they might need to be taking vitamin D supplements as well as calcium, because just the sun alone or foods may not be doing the trick. And then moving on to protein. Protein is essential for muscle protein synthesis as well as maintaining nitrogen balance. So we know that elderly people they often experience muscle degeneration just because they're less mobile due to osteoporosis, arthritis. They just tend to not move as much. It hurts them when they walk sometimes. So that can cause muscle degeneration, but if you have protein, then it will help maintain your muscle mass and as well as muscle protein synthesis. I also have an article, a journal article that I cited that according to Farinz-Jani, they reported that it's more important to get evenly distributed healthy proteins throughout your day than consuming just maybe one protein during one meal that will be sufficient for your day, because this they found that more equally distributed protein throughout your day during all three meals had a higher muscle strength score in men and women. So it was more effective at maintaining muscle mass than just consuming it all at one time, which I thought was interesting. And then moving on to fiber. Fiber keeps the GI system working and healthy and reduces cholesterol. So this is something we talked about last week when we were going over heart health. So fiber actually can absorb LDLs, the kind of cholesterol that we do not want, and which can reduce, it will excrete it when fiber is excreted, because fiber can't be broken down, so it's excreted through defecation. So when the fiber wraps around our LDLs and our cholesterol, it will take that from our bloodstream and reduce risk for atherosclerosis, myocardial infarction, other kinds of cardiac diseases, and also keeps the GI system working and healthy, so it'll flush out all of those bad things in our intestines. Moving on to nutrient functions part 2, we need water, or elderly people need water. This is super essential for all bodily functions, including cell health, maintaining fluid balance. Elderly people have a decreased thirst. They don't feel the need to drink as often as they did when they were younger, which can decrease they can make them dehydrated, which will not be good, especially for the elderly. Water also is in the blood. It's a major part of the blood, so we need water for proper gas exchange and circulation. So water is very important, and then just staying hydrated so our organs don't, or elderly people's organs don't start malfunctioning. And then B vitamins helps maintain cardiovascular health. Antioxidants reduce oxidative stress and degenerative diseases. Antioxidants will fight off cataracts in elderly people's eyes, and it will also prevent brain degeneration such as Alzheimer's, which I didn't know and is very interesting. Zinc is important for immune health. Elderly people already experience decreased immune health and are more susceptible to disease, so zinc is going to be very important. And iron is important for blood's oxygen carrying capacity because iron is the part of the red blood cell that carries oxygen to our organs. The next one is, I can't really see it. Okay, it's calcium. Because we're moving on to food sources, forgive me. So we're talking about calcium. Calcium is found majorly in dairy products like milk, cheese, green leafy veggies like spinach. And then vitamin D is found in fish, cheese, eggs, and egg yolks. I tried to do some obscure ones, some things we haven't heard of before. Protein, obviously, meat, fish, eggs. Fiber is found in beans, lentils, and broccoli, also green leafy vegetables. Water, clearly found in drinking water. Different kinds of juices can be good. And then also ice, like ice chips that you can eat in the hospital. B vitamins are found in whole grain products. You can find in like bread, toast, and then also meat and eggs. So meat and eggs really are carrying a lot of our nutrient sources. Antioxidants found in dark chocolate. So that's a win. Pecans, blueberries, different kinds of berries. And then zinc is found in oysters, meat, and nuts, which is interesting, seafood. Iron is found in beans, lentils, and tofu. And now we're going to look at nutrition and health through the aging process. So as we talked about, elderly people will experience decreased muscle mass, and this will be fought off with increased protein intake. They will also experience decreased bone density, or osteoporosis or osteopenia, which will be fought off with calcium and vitamin D, as we talked about. And then the decreased immune function, which can be supplemented with vitamin B, antioxidants, vitamin E, zinc, and protein. And continuing with this, elderly people, they have the reduced thirst and kidney function. So this is going to increase their need for fluid intake. The kidneys are responsible for, they receive blood and they will create a sodium and fluid balance. So if they are not functioning properly, then elderly people can they can experience a fluid imbalance, extracellular fluid imbalance. Yes, and then cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's, dementia can be fought off with vitamin C and vitamin E. And then community nutrition programs, this was really interesting for me to look at. One that I found interesting was the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, and this provides healthy food and dietary assistance to low-income individuals over the age of 60. I thought this was cool just because it has a very distinct population that's going after, and a population that I think is probably underrepresented and often forgot about. And this population makes up a lot of our homeless community, and it's available in all 50 states. So I think it's great that this program exists to help low-income individuals especially. And then the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program allows easy access for low-income seniors to fresh fruit and vegetables. So they basically do farmers markets for elderly, and they are like pop-up farmers markets that are easily accessible to elderly populations. And then it's also low-income food. So again, you don't need to be super stable or rich to get some good fruit and vegetables, which is amazing. And I think it's great that both of these are super accessible, because I found another journal article that talks about how it's Schlensky and Bloom, which I have cited both of these in my references, but they talk about how there's a series of events that will happen in an elderly person's life that will prevent them from getting proper nutrients. Changes in family dynamics. They have less of a support system, maybe to drive them places. They're less independent, so they're not able to get themselves places. So it's great that these are found in all 50 states and are easily accessible, so they feel empowered to like get their own nutrients. They experience a loss of appetite, changes in sense of smell and taste, decreased mobility, and decreased access to high quality fruits and vegetables. Yes, so especially the mobility, this will cause a decrease in their nutrition, because if they're not able to get themselves to the store, and if they're low income, they're not able to hire like a home nurse or something like that, then they're gonna be nutritionally suffering, which is not good. But both of these programs are there to help, and there's a ton more that I found just like them, so that's awesome. And then my references. So that's where I found both of my academic articles that I cited. So thanks for listening to this. This was really interesting for me to learn about, and it's definitely something that will help me in my future career. So thank you so much. And goodbye.